What if it wasn't a leak, but a strategy? Anthropic's models showed up where they weren't supposed to.
Access expanded faster than expected. So was this a mistake or a calculated move? Welcome back to NeuroWire Signal, where we decode the hidden strategies behind the AI race. If you want insight that goes deeper than headlines, like the video and subscribe. It keeps the signal strong. Today, we're unpacking a controversial question. Did Anthropic accidentally leak its models, or did it want them out? The leak that raised eyebrows. When reports started circulating that Anthropic's advanced models, including versions of Claude, were appearing in unexpected environments, the narrative quickly turned into leak. Developers claimed access pathways that seemed unofficial. Capabilities surfaced before formal announcements. Some integrations appeared earlier than expected. To outsiders, it looked like a breach. But inside the AI industry, things rarely move that randomly, because access, especially to frontier models, is tightly controlled. API keys, enterprise agreements, partner integrations, these are not systems that casually fail at scale. So when something spreads wider than planned, the real question isn't how did it leak, it's who benefited. Why true leaks are rare in frontier AI? Companies like Anthropic operate with extremely strict access controls. Their models are not downloadable binaries. They live behind cloud APIs, usage monitoring systems, and contractual restrictions. Unlike traditional software, you can't just copy a large language model and run it locally without massive infrastructure. That means a real leak, in the sense of losing control of the model, is highly unlikely. What can happen is controlled exposure, and that's where strategy enters the picture. Controlled access versus perceived leak.
There's a subtle but powerful distinction between an actual leak and distributed access that looks like a leak.
Anthropic has partnerships with cloud providers, enterprise platforms, and third-party developers. When access expands through multiple channels simultaneously, it can appear chaotic from the outside. Different users encounter the model in different contexts. Features appear unevenly, capabilities surface before official documentation catches up. That creates the illusion of a leak, but in reality, it may be a staggered rollout. Reason number 1. Market positioning without overhyping. One possible explanation is strategic positioning. Anthropic has consistently taken a more cautious public stance compared to competitors. Instead of loud, headline-driven launches, it often emphasizes safety, alignment, and measured deployment. But there's a trade-off. If you stay too quiet, you risk losing mindshare. Allowing models to surface organically through developers, platforms, and indirect integrations creates buzz without aggressive marketing. People start talking, screenshots spread, comparisons emerge. It builds curiosity, and curiosity drives adoption. Reason number 2. Real-world stress testing. Another key factor is testing at scale. No matter how advanced internal evaluations are, real-world usage always reveals edge cases. Unexpected prompts, unusual workflows, and creative misuse scenarios expose weaknesses that controlled testing environments miss. By expanding access through semi-controlled channels, Anthropic can observe how its models behave under diverse conditions. What breaks? What confuses the model? Where does alignment fail? This feedback loop is invaluable, and it's faster than waiting for a perfectly staged public release. Reason number 3. Competing in the shadow of bigger players.
The AI race is dominated by a few major names, including OpenAI and Google.
In such an environment, visibility matters as much as capability. If Anthropic waited for perfectly polished releases every time, it could fall behind in perception, even if its technology is competitive or superior. Allowing early exposure, even if it feels unstructured, keeps the company in the conversation. Developers start comparing, users start testing, benchmarks start circulating, and suddenly, Anthropic isn't just an alternative, it's a contender. Reason number 4. Ecosystem seeding. AI models don't succeed in isolation. They succeed when developers build on top of them. By expanding access, intentionally or semi-intentionally, Anthropic seeds its ecosystem. Developers experiment, create tools, integrate APIs, and build workflows around the model. This creates lock-in. Once a developer builds a system around the model, switching becomes costly. Early exposure, even if imperfect, accelerates that ecosystem growth. From a strategic perspective, that's incredibly valuable. Reason number 5. Safety through exposure. Anthropic positions itself as a safety-first AI company. But safety isn't just about internal alignment techniques. It's also about understanding real-world risks. When models interact with a wide user base, new safety challenges emerge. Unexpected misuse patterns, creative prompt injections, edge case ethical dilemmas. Exposure helps identify these risks earlier. In that sense, broader access isn't a vulnerability, it's a diagnostic tool. Reason number 6. The illusion of scarcity.
Of course, this approach isn't without downsides. Confusion among users.
When something appears leaked or unofficially available, it paints an aura of exclusivity. People want to try it more. They share access methods. They discuss capabilities. They amplify attention. This creates organic hype without traditional marketing campaigns. Scarcity, even perceived scarcity, drives engagement. Reason number 7. Internal iteration cycles. AI models evolve rapidly. Between versions, capabilities can shift significantly. Anthropic may allow partial exposure of intermediate versions to gather feedback while continuing internal development. This creates a moving target. What users experience today may not be the final product, but their interactions help shape it. From the outside, this looks messy. From the inside, it's iterative refinement. So, was it really a leak? The word leak implies loss of control, but in this case, there's little evidence of uncontrolled distribution. What we see instead is controlled expansion that feels unpredictable from the outside. That unpredictability creates speculation, and speculation creates attention. In highly competitive markets, attention is currency. The bigger pattern in AI. Anthropic isn't alone in this approach. Across the AI industry, companies are experimenting with hybrid rollout strategies, part controlled release, part organic discovery. This allows them to balance safety, feedback, and competitive pressure. Perfect launches are slow, adaptive launches are faster, and speed matters. The risks of this strategy.
Of course, this approach isn't without downsides. Confusion among users.
Inconsistent experiences, misinterpretation of capabilities. If people encounter unstable or incomplete versions, it can affect perception. There's also the risk of misinformation, users assuming features exist or behave differently than intended. Managing that narrative is part of the challenge. Why this matters? Understanding how AI models are released is just as important as understanding what they can do, because distribution shapes adoption, and adoption shapes influence. If Anthropic is experimenting with more fluid, semi-visible rollouts, it signals a shift in how AI companies compete, not just on intelligence, but on strategy. The idea that Anthropic leaked its models makes for a compelling headline, but the reality is more nuanced. What looks like a leak may actually be a calculated blend of exposure, testing, and positioning, a way to gather data, build ecosystem momentum, and stay competitive without sacrificing safety principles. In the AI race, it's not just about building the smartest model, it's about releasing it at the right time in the right way. And sometimes that means letting it out just enough to make people wonder. In AI, what you see isn't always the full story. Sometimes the biggest moves happen quietly and strategically. If you want breakdowns that go beyond the surface, like the video and subscribe to NeuroWire Signal, because the future of AI isn't just being built, it's being played like a game.